Perhaps the duct tape was used so we wouldn't be able to scream.
There it is.
Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
Good job, Fuyuhiko.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone, though, Fuyuhiko. Hello, YouTube! I'm Unca Crunk, just your standard issue purple monster of a certain age who plays games on the internet. In the previous episode of Danganronpa Goodbye Despair, much to my consternation, we triggered Nagito's final trap, which resulted in his own death. This should make me extremely happy to finally have that floppy-haired curly fry well and truly gone, yet he has reached out from beyond the grave to rip this joy from my heart because it appears that he arranged all of this to arrange a class trial that we cannot solve, dooming us all to execution. Oh, and Byakuya wasn't Byakuya, but rather someone known as the Ultimate Imposter. Anywho, let's start this trial and see if we can't escape Nagito's trap.
What is most important for living things? Well, personally, I think time is. I mean, your bank account may go up and down, but time will inevitably run out, right? That's why we gotta cherish time. There is nothing more wasteful than wasting time. So, time's up. We will begin the last class trial. So please gather at Monokuma Rock. I'll see you soon.
The last class trial? He said that, right? He said last class trial.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard it too. He really did say it was the last class trial. What do you think? Should we believe him? Monokuma seemed anxious about the Monokuma timer earlier, right? 2 more days? And he said something about the killing school trip ending, right? Based on the time limit, this might definitely be the last one.
But still...
But I can't imagine that it's the real end. Huh? I think Monokuma's real plan might be just beyond that. His real plan? Is Monokuma still planning to make us do something? What could it be? Maybe after putting us through all this, he's planning to kill the remaining survivors all at once?
Well?
But still, it's not a good idea to think about it too much, I think. I think we should focus on the class trial that's waiting for us first. You're right. A class trial for Nagito's murder. We're pretty screwed. I haven't collected my thoughts because we were so focused on this file. Still can't see who killed Nagito.
But still...
Well, you don't have to worry so much. Huh?
Right?
I mean, we're not fighting this alone, you know? You're right. You're absolutely right. We're not alone. Even if it's a mystery that can't be solved alone, as long as everyone cooperates and works together. Yeah, if we do that, things will turn out fine. Sure they will. Absolutely. Oh. Okay, I think Monokuma Rock is this way. Yeah, it is. Okay.
Damn right.
Looks like everyone's here.
Huh?
Is this it? Shouldn't there be more people?
Damn it.
Stop it. You're making me depressed.
Stupid fool!
You're making me depressed. So, it is going to happen again. A cruel conflict where we must doubt our friends. But once we're through with this, we can go back, right?
That's right.
That Monokuma bastard says so, didn't he? He said this is the last class trial.
Damn it.
Yeah, but we've been tricked every step of the way. There's no way I can believe that so easily.
Of course not!
Why can't you believe it? The guy who's making us do all this is the one saying it, you know?
You know, right?
That's why I'll definitely survive. If we can really go home after we deal with this class trial,
That's right!
I'll definitely find out who the killer is, no matter what. Even after if I have to pull out all the stops. But what the fuck? Why are you here? You haven't realized it yet? That feeling of wanting to leave this island. Thinking like that is Monokuma's trap, you know.
Huh?
What are you saying?
Got it?
There's no way Monokuma will end things here. He's planning something far worse. Stop trying to jinx us, you fluffy little bunny bitch.
I'll beat you up!
Damn right. Stupid rabbit should just shut up. Everyone, you mustn't run away from despair. What? I have finally realized, after losing my powers, I've realized that cursing your powerlessness or your fate accomplishes nothing. The possibility may be small, but as long as there's a possibility, you must face it. In order to become someone who can be proud of yourself. So I will fight.
Huh?
What's her deal? I do not really know, but she seems different from before. Maybe she read a self-help book.
Wait.
But her eyes, she looks so determined.
You...
What can you tell just by looking at those button eyes? Anyway, make sure you turn off Minimaru. It'd be annoying if he started talking during the trial. No, fine.
But still,
Somehow, I understand what Monami is saying, I think. Anyway, let's get going. The last class trial.
yep.
You're right. We need to fight as much as we can. No matter what hopeless truth awaits us in the end. Roar. This is the end. I kept saying those words to myself over and over within my mind. I entered Monokuma Rock. Well, of course, it's not the end.
Yeah.
This elevator ride. This will be the last time for this, too, right? I hope so.
Well,
Let's worry about things after we're finished.
you are right.
More importantly, we must focus on the class trial before us.
Damn it.
The killer managed to kill someone like Nagito. There's no way this is gonna go smoothly. I mean, I still can't believe one of us was able to do that. Nagito was problematic in many ways, but he was also a valuable asset during the trials. Yeah, I suppose you're right. In fact, during the Funhouse ordeal, we were completely dependent on him. But even if he's gone, the ones who've survived need to stand and fight. We must fight. And then the door slowly opened. This bright light greeting us. Is that the light of hope? Or the light of despair?
Well now.
Well then! Now that chatterbox Nagito is gone, there are only 6 of you left!
Shut the hell up!
Enough! Just fucking start this already!
Hey!
Hey, this is it, right? This is really the last class trial, right?
Yep.
Yep, sure is! So, you gotta show some enthusiasm and make sure you give it your all!
All right!
Didn't I tell you? He said it! This is the end!
Now then.
Now then, let's get this trial started!
Viva killing!
This is the last class trial! Let's show some enthusiasm and kill each other! This is the 5th class trial. According to Monokuma, this is also the last class trial. That curtain is about to rise. Nagito Komaeda, the ultimate lucky student. When I first met him, I thought he was a nice guy. He came across as very sociable. But his true nature held such a demented thought process that was nothing like his outward appearance. He said he believed in hope more than anything else. He said he was yearning for a powerful hope that can overcome any despair. He said he would even help despair just to prove that hope will never lose to despair. And he said he'd become a stepping stone for hope. His way of thinking was completely screwed up. But there were also times he saved us too. Someone like him was killed. That was the end of him. I have no idea at all who did it, but there's no way we can end this without knowing. We will be consumed by despair. That's why we absolutely have to find out. The person who finished off Nagito. The killer who murdered Nagito. In order to return from this despair alive, we need to reach the truth. And if Monokuma says that this really is the last class trial, that's all the more reason we need to do this. And so, this life-threatening trial billowing with hope and despair, the last one, has begun. The trickster Nagito was brutally murdered. His unpredictable death has left a looming shadow of mystery in the hearts of Hajime and the others. Who is the traitor? What was the clue Nagito left? Will they be able to see the light within the darkness between hope and despair? Okay, let's go.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it. If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island. Oh my, Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you?
Also, she isn't tied up anymore.
You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit? Chesto! One more time! Geez, how about this one? This will be my final blow! It's useless.
Please stop! I feel bad for Monomi.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who was attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
No, that might not be it.
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Don't say something so stupid! There's no way in hell I'm the traitor!
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
The traitor and the killer who murdered Nagito is here, right? Are they the same person? Or... Alright, let's see. Alright, I have no idea what this is going to be about.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up.
What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
If so, the suspect
Is whoever found the bomb first!
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? Oh. Were the wounds on Nagito's body really caused by torture in the first place?
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up.
What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
If so, the suspect
Is whoever found the bomb first!
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up.
What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
If so, the suspect
Is whoever found the bomb first!
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up.
Alright, I
What were they
think...
trying to find out by torturing him?
Oh, that's focus gauge. No.
Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
Crap, I've forgotten the,
If so, the suspect
Is
Oh,
whoever
okay.
found
That was Fuyu. I found it. There's no way I'd torture someone.
gotten the controls.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong. I think Nagito did it to
But
himself.
Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything. If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
I'm prepared.
Ah!
I just realized it. It's a trap.
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
Stupid. Okay,
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut,
oh, wrong.
you'd obviously
wrong
assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap.
Damn it.
Damn it!
Can't just listen to what he's saying, I also need to respond.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
Kazuichi seems unusually confident. I should ask him why that is.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. They wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, How is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention. This is first. The killer tortured Nag and got information about the bomb's location.
Nope. Hajime, you idiot. What are you even saying? Are you trying to rebut me with that?
Crap!
I won't be able to cut through Kazuichi's rebuttal with this. Think it over one more time.
Pay attention. This is first. The killer and got in. Then, after they killed him.
Allow
Okay,
me to
there.
cut through those words! No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
What did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors.
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
Baby? Are you in elementary school or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right? The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds, which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so we wouldn't be able to scream.
There it is.
Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
Good job, Fuyuhiko.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone, though, Fuyuhiko.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer?
If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard. If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
We can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Some kind of setup? Like what?
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect.
Settle down, boy.
Alrighty then. Let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Damn right it is!
The reason for the fire, huh? You're right. We need to clear that up first.
The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw the lighter.
Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Or perhaps opening the door caused
Oh, there it is.
intense wind pressure to tip over the lighter.
Well, not that, though. Hang on. Some kind of setup was used to start that fire, so what could it be?
The direct cause of the fire was
Monokuma
the oil lighter
panels.
found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on...
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil?
They probably just based on the shape of it can stand up.
If they tipped over, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way? Maybe they used
There should have been a way to...
Or perhaps opening the door caused.
There it
I
is.
agree with that.
I consent to you opening that door.
I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure. A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan!
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels.
Like dominoes.
A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene, right? It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Does that mean anything?
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
A domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second, and from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
Killer did one other thing to hide the domino effect. The music. Yeah, this one.
I see! You're talking about the MP3 player, right? That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
The inside of the warehouse felt even darker because our eyes were still used to the bright sunlight outside. Within that darkness, a loud hymnal blared throughout the warehouse at full volume. Hey, do you guys hear something? Yeah, it's really damn loud. Does Nagito like listening to this depressing crap? No, I'm not talking about the music. And as if on cue, it suddenly started.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
It's fine, I'll open it slowly. No, that's not the problem. Seriously, I'll be fine. With those words, Akane brushed off everyone's warnings and slowly opened the door to the warehouse. Clatter, clatter, clatter. Oh, it's not opening. Is there something blocking the door? I can barely open it. I knew it. It's a trap. Seriously, just stop it, okay? Didn't I tell you it'll be fine? I just gotta use a little more force. What happened to opening it slowly? Akane ignored their protest, and with a mighty kick, the door flew open. Bam!
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter.
Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
But the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
If that door was the only entrance to the warehouse, I see. So the problem Chiaki's talking about is the killer couldn't have left.
I see! If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used.
You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Nagito! Huh?
You don't mean...
But if that's true, this murder...
Hajime? What do you mean?
Person who set up the domino effect inside the warehouse. There's only one person who could have done that. Oh. Okay, we're going here now?
This is my answer. What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know.
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Huh?
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
Suicide, Kazuichi.
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid. His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget? Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
Trying to make it look like a murder.
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember? Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Yeah, you're right.
That burned rope.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
His sleeve wasn't damaged at all, but the rope was burned. He burned that before he tied himself up.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Need to discuss? That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
Well, like you said, it seems impossible if you think about it, but I feel like I'm overlooking something. Yeah.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
If our assumption that Nagito committed suicide is correct, Nagito should have tied himself up too. That's okay, right?
To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
Hold on a sec. Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were...
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms. The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
That was just burned by the fire. He should have been tied up before then.
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that. But that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
Proof that the burnt rope on Nagito's right arm is a trap. His right sleeve.
I see! Take a close look at his right sleeve. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree? A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
No, Akane, thank you.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
Yeah.
That's definitely wrong.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito. I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know?
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand.
Ah, that much is obvious.
You had to brace it against something.
Hajime, you tricked me. Give me back that Benjamin.
Wait, what? Not only did she try to charge me, now she wants the money back. What the heck?
Hold on. There should be a way.
Then hurry up and spill it.
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest.
Way to stab yourself in your right hand using only your right hand. It's okay, there's definitely an answer for this. Oh right, the Monokuma plushie had a hole in it and blood on it.
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow? And slammed his right hand down on it?
Propped it onto what?
Okay, I guess I'm agreeing with
If he
Chiaki.
just propped the knife, he could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand.
If Nagito could only use his right hand to stab himself in the palm, then how did he do it?
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow?
I agree with that.
I agree with propping up the knife.
The life-sized Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach. He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it. If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
I see. So that's the trick.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
A bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
He probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem. The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right? If you think about the order, getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito. If that's true, how is that possible? He can't grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
Then he probably took the spear first, and as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
There is a limit to his constitution. If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Shut up, Kazuichi.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Like I said, if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Say it one more time. I need to record it. For reasons.
Oh my
You
goodness.
bastard, you better cut it out!
Like she said, in that condition, it's very difficult to stab yourself with a spear. It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stab into your right hand while your left hand is tied up.
So you're saying it's impossible?
But no matter what I think, I can't believe Nagito's death was caused by someone else.
I also agree with that. To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty, I could never believe that.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right? But that's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right? Same goes for this time, too.
You just shut your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone. If you even think about doing anything, I have a plan of my own.
Monokuma's sassing me!
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed over and over again so far. So this might also be the same. Calling this a suicide takes too much for granted, and it's too convenient.
Then are you saying there is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
Of course that doesn't include Miss Sonia and me.
As Kazuichi said, it's true we've been constantly betrayed. But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone. No matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
I also want to believe that there's no killer, but suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
I did say difficult, but I never said impossible.
Okay.
I feel that there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
What kind of way?
I don't know.
The rope attached to the spear, the blood on the girder, the lack of blood in the palm of his left hand.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together. That's how we made it this far up till now.
Everyone working together.
She's right. We've made it through several ordeals up till now by doing that. Then, even now...
All right, let's do this.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth? Or maybe he used his front tail.
Again?
I know guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed.
What are you saying?
A blushing Miss Sonia is freaking awesome!
If Nagito committed suicide, then he must have used that spear to stab himself. Even if his arms and legs were tied up, there's no doubt he used some part of his body. The only thing he could have used is his left hand.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together.
When the spear stabbed, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand.
No, that's wrong!
No, that's wrong.
Hold on. It's still too early to dismiss the possibility that he used his left hand.
Why? I mean, his left hand was tied up, you know?
But there was something off about his left hand. The bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked somewhat strange? He only had blood on the lower area of his palm. Beyond that point, the bloodstain suddenly cuts off, right?
When the blood splattered, that's as far as it reached, right?
That settles the description of that bloodstain, but it's not the only unnatural bloodstain. Look, there's blood on the back of his hand, around the middle joints of his fingers.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural bloodstain, but what's wrong with that?
We might need to think and use our imaginations for a bit. If there's blood on his palm and the back of his hand, what was his left hand doing as the blood splattered?
What was Nagito's left hand doing when the blood splattered? Gripping!
I see!
When the blood splattered, he was probably gripping with his left hand. That's why there's such a strange-looking bloodstain on his palm and the back of his hand.
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Would you please get off that subject?
Perish the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear!
Now that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, the wounds on his left arm are pretty mild. He probably made his wounds mild on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
But even if he held the spear with his tied-up left hand, it'd be impossible for him to stab himself.
That's right. That's the problem.
Hey, Chiaki, what do you think? Hey, don't tell me you're getting sleepy.
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle. Just like fixing an old TV.
Oh, I got it. Maybe.
Huh? Really?
Yeah, like I thought. It's no mistake that Nagito was gripping the spear, I think. However, what's important is what section of the spear he was gripping.
Which section of the spear was he holding on to? The cord!
I see! That's it. Instead of the handle, Nagito must have been holding on to the cord. There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too. Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was cut off by something.
Isn't the size of that cut-off section about the same size as a human fist?
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping, huh? And then the blood that was supposed to end up here ended up getting on Nagito's left hand.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
No.
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki? I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily.
Of course it will. Nagito was gripping the cord extending from the butt of the spear with his left hand. But from there, how would he stab himself in the stomach with the spear?
It seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time?
Oh, I would love some tea.
At a
Well-
time like this,
Coffee, actually.
how about we stick to the plan to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once?
That's a long plan name.
One step at a time. What does that mean?
Let's focus on the spear first. Namely, where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito.
How it was positioned.
Nagito was facing up, and the spear was stabbed through his stomach. So if it's just before that... That's it. Could it be the state of the spear and the fact that Nagito was holding the tip of the cord attachment? I put those together and think about it. I should be able to figure out where the spear was and what state it was in before it stabbed Nagito. Logic dive! Okay, where was the spear just before it impaled Nagito? Above him. Besides the spear, what else was above Nagito? A ceiling girder. What item connects both the spear and the ceiling girder? The spear's cord.
It's all coming together. The spear impaled Nagito as he was laying face up. It must have been perpendicular to him just before that.
Perpendicular. In the middle of the air?
If Nagito did that all by himself, did he have some sort of ESP?
That'd be awesome, but he probably used the ceiling girder directly above him.
Nagito probably slung the cord over the ceiling girder, and using that as a support, he hoisted the spear directly above him. And if Nagito let go of the cord, the spear would have fallen and impaled him while he was laying face up.
I noticed a slight red streak on the ceiling girder. It probably got smeared there during the setup.
The blood on the cord probably rubbed off on the ceiling girder as the spear was falling. So, how about it? Using this method, Nagito could have impaled himself with the spear.
Are you serious? He really committed suicide? Like that?
Unfortunately, there's still the question of the poison gas.
He probably chose that spear so he could commit suicide like that. If someone else did this, there's no reason they'd go to all this trouble just to kill someone with a spear.
I agree. When I was investigating this case, I kept thinking over and over how strange it was. Why did the killer use the knife and the spear so differently?
So you're saying he needed to use that spear to pull off his trick?
Then, this is for real? He really committed suicide? Every single wound on his body. That was all him?
Not just that, he did all that while he was gripping the spear? That spear should not have stabbed Nagito until the very end. Which means Nagito wounded himself while he was gripping that spear, right?
Did he put the duct tape on his mouth too?
He probably covered his own mouth so we wouldn't hear him screaming in pain.
Did he need to go that far? That's beyond crazy! Why would he do that to himself?
He was probably trying to get us to make a mistake. By committing a suicide that looked like a murder, he was trying to steer us toward the wrong answer. His goal was to get us all executed.
Yep. But not by... Not quite in the way that you think, Hajime.
And that's why he stabbed himself over and over again?
Did he want us to die that bad?
That's messed up. That's seriously so messed up.
Yeah, that's our Nagito.
Geez, and I was starting to feel a little sympathetic towards that floppy-haired curly fry. How stupid of me. I completely underestimated his capacity for malice. Mind-boggling malice that threatens us even after he's died. That's the form his malice took. Forgotten all about it until now. He was here now, he'd probably be sneering at me.
However, there is one thing I still do not understand. He said he would reveal the traitor, right? Whatever became of that?
He was probably planning to kill the traitor along with the rest of us.
So why did he not just do that in the first place? If he had no qualms with killing everyone, he did not have to cause a bomb scare to reveal the traitor.
I bet the bomb scare was part of the strategy behind this trick. He made us split up and search for a bomb so none of us would have an alibi. He created a scenario where any of us could have killed him.
He tried to make us doubt each other, and tried to hide the truth behind his suicide.
Did he cause a bomb scare for that reason alone?
He's a fucking bastard who killed himself for his delusions of grandeur. It's not that unthinkable.
You are right, I suppose.
Yeah, it appears we've come to a conclusion. Bastard Nagito committed suicide. It was all done by him so we'd be executed.
That should be okay, right? Right?
What? You're not satisfied yet?
No, I agree that Nagito killed himself, but I feel like there's something that doesn't make sense. It's probably just my imagination.
Why? I mean, sort of understand what she's talking about. I don't think it's a mistake to assume that Nagito committed suicide, but why do I feel so uneasy about it? Is it because we don't know who the traitor is, or...
So what are you gonna do? Is it okay to proceed with the voting time?
Metagaming? No. Absolutely not. Way too early, and we haven't used all of the evidence yet.
What do you think, Akane?
Well, there's no doubt Nagito's death was a suicide. Oh well, I guess my gut is wrong sometimes.
You are right. It is not as though we can draw any other conclusion.
Then it's okay to end it here, huh? That means we're done with this last class trial and we can leave this island, right? It's okay to reach such a happy ending, right?
With Nagito involved, there will be no happy ending, Kazuichi.
Then it's okay? It's okay to say, you've decided on the killer? Understood. Then voting time.
No, hold on a sec.
Hold on. Why?
Because this is what Nagito wanted. If we vote him as the killer, we die. He's not the killer. He tricked one of us into killing him. Damn and blast.
Sorry, just a little more. I want you guys to wait just a little more. I can't help but feel like there's still something we overlooked.
Like who the traitor is?
But the issue here is who killed Nagito, right? Even if we identify the traitor, the conclusion won't change.
I really was hoping it wouldn't go in this direction.
That's true, but...
The mystery isn't just about who the traitor is.
Huh?
No matter how you look at it, Nagito's death is a suicide. But I'm a little worried, you know? I'm worried about starting the voting time while there's still a mystery.
Hey, what do you mean it's not about who the traitor is? What kind of mystery is left?
There's just one thing that doesn't make sense, and it relates to Nagito's death. Plus, it's something even Nagito couldn't influence. He couldn't even tamper with the evidence for it.
Something related to Nagito's death. And it's something that even he couldn't have messed with.
You're gonna keep going? Here I thought we were finally finished.
Something related to Nagito's death. A piece of evidence that even he couldn't mess with. Oh! Yeah, the Monokuma file. He couldn't influence that.
I see! Is it about the Monokuma file?
Yeah, that's it.
Huh? There was something suspicious in the Monokuma file?
The victim is Nagito Komaeda. Body was discovered inside the warehouse near the Monokuma plushie factory. The estimated time of death is believed to be noon sharp. Not only is there a spear stabbed into his stomach, there are multiple stab wounds on each of his thighs. Furthermore, there is a laceration on his left arm and a knife impaled through his right hand. The suspicious part of the Monokuma file that Chiaki is worried about is it didn't actually list a cause of death. I completely missed it. Cause of death. All right. Oh my god, I barely survived that.
In this particular case's Monokuma file, there's no specific cause of death.
Not only is there a spear stabbed in his stomach, there are multiple stab wounds on each of his thighs. Furthermore, there is a laceration on his left arm and a knife impaled through his right hand.
Isn't that weird? Until now, the files always specified the cause of death.
But the cause of death is obvious, is it not? The spear in Nagito's stomach. It is obvious just by looking at it that it was a cause of death.
It was the poison that he had.
Maybe it's not included if it's not important enough to write about.
Well, Monokuma, I plead the fifth!
There he goes again! I'm so appalled that I have nothing to say.
Then why are you talking?
But even during Gundam's case, and before during Nikon's case, the thing he purposely omitted from the Monokuma file was always the most important mystery in the case.
Are you saying that applies this time too?
Hold on a sec. Then, are you saying there's more to Nagito's death? Are you suggesting, again, that his death wasn't a suicide?
You guys were the ones who said it was a suicide in the first place.
No, I don't think it's a mistake to call Nagito's death a suicide, but it's not just a suicide. Come to think of it, did Nagito really commit suicide just to get us all killed?
Are you sticking up for him?
That's not what I meant. I mean it in a bad sense.
Bad sense?
I just remembered that his malice always defied our expectations, and that concerns me. For example, would that malice just end here?
Huh?
Did Nagito's malice drive him to risk his life for a truth we'd reach this easily? I mean, this is Nagito we're talking about, you know?
How interesting! You sure do believe in Nagito, huh? Because you believe in his malice, you continue to suspect his malice. I see. I guess that's what passes for friendship these days.
What friendship?
What should we do, you guys? Should we proceed with the vote? I think we should keep going until everyone is satisfied, even if it's just to be safe.
You're right. We only get one chance to vote after all.
Just to be safe, huh? Guess I have no choice. If that's the case, I'll do my best to go along with it.
This is friggin' annoying.
Yeah, it is. That's Nagito for you.
But if you guys say you're doing it, there's no way I'm gonna back out.
Hey, Monokuma, you heard us. The voting's gonna have to wait!
We've come this far. Let's work hard till the very end. If we work together, everything should be all right. That's what I believe.
I don't.
Aww. Splendid. You guys are so splendid right now. That's right. If all your hopes are united, no despair can shake you.
All your hopes are united and no despair can shake you, huh? Now that I think about it, Nagito said the same thing. Absolute hope that can overcome any despair. He said he was yearning for that. And this situation we're in might be the thing that Nagito wanted all along. No, never mind. I'm probably overthinking. Suspended!
No!
Man, my heart was racing like crazy when I thought the voting time was going to start, but... Well, if you think about it rationally, there's no way it was going to happen. We haven't done this bit yet. Most of the players probably figured that out too. You're the only one who didn't know. Isn't that right, mon ami? Hey, how much longer are you planning to sulk? Let's get along like we always do. All right, you passed. Friendship is measured by how long you can stand the silence when you're all alone with someone else.
So, Monokuma and I are the bestest of best friends. Don't say such stupid things. I hate you so much right now. Enough! Why do I have to be hated that much? Besides the fact that you snap at me like that, I don't trust you at all. Not even a teeny tiny 1 millimeter bit. How sad. Distrusting your friend is much more shameful than being betrayed by that friend, you know. We aren't even friends in the first place. And as your older brother, let me say this. You're not even my brother. It's sad to live a life without friendship. That's even sadder than watching a high school rom-com full of guys. Well, there may be some demands for that. I fell for it. I totally took the man bait.
Okay.
I'm Monami. By now, there's nothing more for me to say. Anyway, my chest is full of pride right now. Everyone is united against despair. They're totally awesome. That's why I'm gonna fight too. I will fight the only way I can. I'm gonna show that guy my fearsome retaliation. That's basically it.
So if we're working together, where do we start? With the cause of death missing from the Monokuma file?
Why don't we try removing all our preconceived notions before we discuss this? In the beginning, our discussion advanced by assuming Nagito's death was caused by the spear. It's better to confirm if there are any other possibilities. That's what I think.
Other possibilities. Huh.
I really don't like where this is going.
If something other than the spear killed Nagito, all I can think of is a knife stabbed into his hand, but...
That was definitely a gruesome wound, but it wouldn't be the fatal wound, don't you think?
If you think the cuts on his legs and left arm aren't the fatal wounds...
Are we finished already?
I feel like it's possible that we overlooked something.
Yeah. Overlooked, huh?
Then let's bring up whatever we can think of, one after the other. That might clear some things up.
Exactly! We should cooperate at a time like this.
A fatal wound that wasn't the spear. We don't even know if it actually exists, but if it does, we need to find out what it is, no matter what.
Let us consider a different fatal wound.
It's not the knife in his right hand, right? It's not the other wounds, right?
With all those wounds, maybe he simply bled to death.
There's no way he burned to death.
Was the cause of death something that cannot be seen?
If it's something that can't be seen, maybe he choked himself with a sleeper hold. Or liquefied his guts with a body blow.
Just thinking about it, that's already a horrible death.
Okay, I have to pause right here just to say something. I don't remember the name of the person. I think it happened during Victorian times. But someone was trying to prove that you couldn't suffocate yourself to death. So he leaned against the mantle of his fireplace to try to choke himself out. And he died. Anyway, I know what it is. The real cause of Nagito's death. Is there something I overlooked?
Let us
Didn't
consider
overlook
a
it.
different fatal wound.
It's not the knife in his right hand, right? It's not the other wounds, right?
With all those wounds, maybe he simply bled to death.
There's no way he burned to death.
Was the cause of death something that cannot be seen?
Damn it!
If it's something that can't be
I
seen,
missed.
Maybe he
Okay.
choked himself or liquefied his gut.
Just thinking about it, that's already a horrible death.
Let us consider a different fatal wound.
It's not the knife in his... It's not the other wound. With all those wounds, maybe he simply bled to death.
There's no way he burned to death.
Was the cause of death something that cannot be seen?
if it's something that can't be seen,
Maybe he choked himself or liquefied his gut.
Just thinking about it, that's already a horrible death.
Let us consider a different fatal wound.
It's not the knife in his... It's not the other wound. With all those wounds, maybe he simply...
There's no way.
Was the cause of death something that cannot be seen?
if it's something that can't be seen,
Maybe he choked himself with a sleeper hole or liquefied his gut.
Just thinking about it, that's already a horrible death.
Let us consider it.
Oh, finally! So many things in the way.
That's it. I totally forgot about that possibility. If the cause of death was something we can't see, then we have to consider poison as a possible method.
Poison?
I thought it just, like, caused him to lose consciousness, drop the, let go of the cord and the spear. Either way, he arranged it so that one of us killed him.
It is true that poison is not something we can see, but why did you bring that up all of a sudden?
I remember, when I went to investigate Nagito's cottage, I discovered something really strange. Inside the refrigerator, I found a bottle of Monokuma's special poison.
Poison?
Additionally, that's a poison made specifically for killing.
Aren't they all?
I see. Now that you mention it, there's no way a toxin like that doesn't relate to the case at all.
If poison was the cause of death, it would not leave an obvious wound on Nagito's body.
However, it's common for blood blotches to appear on a body that's been poisoned.
How do you know that?
I see. You sure seem to know a lot about medicine.
What does that mean?
But, even if blood blotches appear, if the body was already covered in blood,
Oh.
there's no way we'd notice them easily, right?
Did he wound his body just to camouflage them?
Oh my god! The floppy-haired idiot is a fluffing genius. That reminds me. You know how in spy thrillers, they have like a false tooth that they bite into to deliver cyanide, kills them instantly? Cyanide doesn't work like that. It's not instant. It's not painless. It hurts like hell and it takes several minutes. Why did I bring that up? Because I was alive in 1984, that's why.
That's also a possibility.
But still, both of Nagito's hands were full. So how would he drink poison?
his left hand was tied up and gripping the spear, and his right hand had a knife stuck in it.
If it was a slow-acting poison, it is possible he consumed it in advance.
It's not.
No, the warning label on the bottle explicitly states the effect is instant.
No such thing, but whatever.
Then it's impossible. Both his hands were full just before he died.
And this is when the hardtail appears!
Oh, come on, would you please?
You're totally overvaluing that tail.
Okay, passing swiftly over that.
His mouth was covered with duct tape, you know. If he wanted to drink poison, how'd he get it past his lips?
If there's no way he could have drank the poison, it might be impossible.
Afraid not.
Just kidding. It's not like we're out of possibilities yet.
Are there any left?
Hell no. No matter how you slice it, he was totally killed by that spear.
Since we've already ruled out so many possibilities, it might be easier to think about what really killed him. Operation Elimination Method. The hint should be written on the poison's warning label. Maybe.
The way the poison entered Nagito's body, the answer is written on the warning label? I should think carefully and try to remember it. Oh my giddy aunt!
It's all coming together! What if instead of drinking the poison, we assume he inhaled it?
Inhaled?
It's written on the poison's warning label.
Acid jet in liquid is highly potent and takes effect immediately. Please handle with care. Though its volatility is low, this liquid is very dangerous when vaporized.
Dangerous when vaporized. In other words, breathing in the gas is fatal.
Poison gas! Then all he had to do was breathe it in through his nose!
He breathed that poisonous gas inside the warehouse? But if poisonous gas had spread throughout the warehouse, why didn't it kill us?
Monokuma ushered us out. The reason we didn't breathe in the poison gas, I should be able to explain that mystery too. Oh, right. The sprinklers.
I see! The sprinklers in the warehouse. Thanks to those, we didn't inhale that poison gas.
The poison gas disappeared because of the sprinklers? It wasn't the fire?
Well, this was also written on the poison's warning label.
In a gaseous state, it is heavier than air. It breaks down in minutes, and it is susceptible to hydrolysis. So, it is possible for you to poison someone to death without any complications.
Of course! Hydrolysis! The chemical bonds that formed the poison were broken down by the water from the sprinklers!
Also, the poison is apparently denser than air, so it probably didn't affect us because we were standing.
But Nagito was laying down, so he must have breathed in a whole bunch of it, huh?
If it meets the requirements that well, maybe it's not just a possibility anymore.
Yeah, the true cause of Nagito's death was poisoning. The wounds on his body, the spear in his stomach, it was all to keep us from learning the truth.
So what?
Huh?
We figured out that Nagito died from poison, but so what? In the end, it doesn't change the fact that he committed suicide, right? Then enough already!
Nagito inhaled the poison he prepared and died. Yeah, that still sounds like a suicide.
That's not the way Monokuma's going to see it.
Well, with this, we have a clearer picture. We've also determined the true cause of death. All right, all the mysteries should be solved now. We should get on with the voting time, right?
Well, but...
What? There's still more?
I mean, not all the mysteries have been solved yet. In the end, Nagito's motive is still unclear. Did he commit suicide just so he could kill every last one of us? Was that really his motive? Is that really okay? Okay, we're going to end the episode here. To the outro! Well, crap! So Nagito did kill himself, but he did it in such a way that one of us will be held responsible for his death. He was hunting the traitor, and since he didn't know who the traitor is, he left it to chance. Being the ultimate lucky student, I'm guessing he trusted that whoever the traitor is would be found responsible and executed. And with all of the death flags she collected at the end of her free time events, I'm pretty sure Chiaki is the traitor, and we will have to watch her die in the next episode. In the meantime, up here is a playlist of my Phoenix Wright Justice for All playthrough, and down here is a video that YouTube recommends. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!